Hello everybody, how are you going? Welcome back to looking at what Canada's house prices are truly like. As from an Australian perspective, I can understand how things are going a little bit ballistic, and I've checked out Toronto and Vancouver, but now I just want to take a bit of a sidestep and check out Saskatchewan just to see how things are traveling overseas. Saskatchewan, there we go, I just had to figure it out, for sale. So everything so far is around, okay, under $1 million for sure. What happens, I wonder, if I go over $1 million, but we can get to that later. As for now, I just want to be seeing what does a generic home for $275,000, what does that get you? As these photos, damn, wow, I'm impressed so far. I mean, I don't think there's many places in Australia that you could be able to get anywhere close to this level of quality, so to say, for $250,000. I mean, it might be in the middle of nowhere, but even still, I don't think that's possible, especially having the carpeted bedrooms. Yes, it has popcorn ceiling, and it might not be the newest house in terms of the light fixtures and everything like that, but realistically, it's got built-ins, it's got a TV in terms of power and everything like that. It's clearly a renovated home. Very clean, it looks like, and there's nothing particularly wrong with it. I kind of want to just see the outdoors now and see what is possibly making this house so cheap, as it's a 3-bed, 3-bath, 1464 square foot. So why is it so cheap? Is it just the area, or is there something sneaky? It's got a decent basement attached to it, a pool table. I mean, that's all just going to probably go with the owners, but man, it seems like for the price, it's not too bad. So what else do we possibly have for $274,000? Let's just go up to maybe, yeah, $340,000. You get 5 beds, 2 baths, slightly smaller, but it's on a 6,555 square lot, slightly smaller house. But again, a very clean external. That's just a generic winter photo, I guess. All the trees are kind of gone. There's nothing really left for you, but wow, black kitchen, clean though, popcorn-ish ceiling, downlights. It's a very, very nice enough house. It might not be to everyone's taste, but that is clearly just fine in terms of what you're paying for. And so for $100,000 more, but still only $340,000, there's nowhere this could possibly be. And so now, just taking a step back, where are they? I just need to be figuring out where these places are exactly, as there's just no way. I don't understand how it can be possible. It's not even that far from anything. It's just north of North Dakota. I mean, it might not be straight on any of the major roads, but it kind of also is on a major, oh no, it's not, it's on its own little place. And so why is it so cheap? Does it just come down to the fact that Canada is the second biggest country in the world, and so they have a lot of space, but also a lot of border where people can be close to the US, so to say, but not really close to anything else, and so no one particularly wants to live there in terms of from a large city living, so to say. You know, you have Vancouver sticking out, you have Winnipeg sticking out, and then of course all the guys over on the East Coast or towards the east, especially when you take into consideration just how many main roads North America has. Like, just this grid pattern that probably goes around major geological formations and places where it needs to be going through. But realistically, if you come down here, you can see how many major roads they truly do have. These big diagonal roads, man, that is a perfectly straight road, basically, besides a little detour around Lang. It's just impressive, and it makes me wonder why people aren't just everywhere. Like, look at this grid. That's crazy. Surely not. Is that a road, or is that land? That has to be a road. I don't know what else it would be unless it is blocks, but that's just crazy how you're just so perfectly gridified. I mean, it makes sense in terms of just being able to segment it all, but look at it. It's just so alien to me just to see it like this. And it just means that everyone isn't that far from anything. It's not like you have to go, I don't know, to Winnipeg and then up to Saskatoon just to get over there. You don't have to go anywhere. You can go basically anywhere in the entire country. So anyone can live anywhere. But hey, now I just want to be knowing what is at least $1 million going to be getting you, as that has been the benchmark in the other places. And so what does, man, $1 million get you in Saskatchewan? That is a lot. Just straight off the bat, 4 beds, 4 baths, but also having 1,800 square foot on a 2-acre lot. But these photos, it makes it look a little bit different, doesn't it? Whether it's generated and photoshopped or not, you can see why it might be a little bit more expensive than the other ones. Even just basing it off first impressions, it could be absolutely falling apart inside, but just looking at the outside, it looks pretty nice. That looks very different though. It's crazy how it can just be so different. Got to get the joy in there, but high ceilings, very white, but once again, very clean. Like, that's what I'm amazed by the other ones by. It was a quarter of the price. And so are you just buying it for the land value? Like if the land wasn't as big, but it still wasn't tiny, it was still had a full house on it. Yes, it may not be as modern or I guess as grand as this with the exposed beams, but realistically, I don't think it's that different. It's got the black kitchen, it's got the laminate floor or the hybrid floorboards. It looks relatively similar, I'd say. Like they would all be from one straight magazine, and it's $1 million, or actually $1 million more almost than the other one was. And especially when I just start speeding through all of these photos, there's nothing that's particularly standing out to me. And so I guess I should just, for the first time so far, read the description. Or I guess first of all, just get some bearings about where this is in comparison to the other one. It's just north, not too far. I mean, the other one was just over down here. It's up in Saskatoon, quite close to the city in comparison though. So that is going to be playing a major role, of course. But what do they have to say? The love is in the details. It does seem like it has been very nicely polished and very nicely furnished, but really just reading the rest of it, they're just describing the entire property and not really having anything that stands out to me. And that's why I'm wondering, why is it $1 million more than the other one was? It was $250,000 compared to $1.2 million. And I understand some of the things like the land, but why is the other one then so cheap? I feel like this one could be 1.2 and the other one might be $450. That would be more in what I would expect, but $250, that's crazy. I mean, I guess while I'm here, I might as well also just check out what the walk, and it does also have a bike score, but a 0 walk score. That's just keeping the price down. Man, it's not even that far from Saskatchewan or anything, or not from Saskatchewan, from Saskatoon, but it has a 0 walk score. That really sums up the entire place, doesn't it? It just doesn't have that more expansive public network of public transport, but a bike score at least of 29, so it's somewhat bikeable between properties, but definitely car dependent. Moving on now to this one being $3.37 million. And from everything that I could see, the most expensive one in all of Saskatchewan. And so what does it have on offer? It's 8,300 square feet lot. Okay, so not as big as the last one, but actually if I do look at this second image, it looks like it's actually in the city. And I guess that does make sense as well from what the listing was showing you. Wow, that is in the city, not even just on the outskirts. That is literally across the river of the Central Business District, the CBD. Look at that. It really just, I'm just amazed by American cities and their grid-like formation. It just seems so weird. But let's just see what these photos and what you get for let's just call it 3.4 million, because I reckon you're going to have a little bit of maybe outbidding one another, as it's going to have a lot of interest. Man, starting off with a massive staircase, expansive levels as well. Look at that open plan living. This isn't something that I've really seen in Canada so far. Everything's been so closed down and warm, I guess so to say. It's meant to be kind of cozy. You don't want to be having to heat and cool, I guess, these massive expansive spaces, and so to be having these huge glass bifolds out the back, or at least huge glass panes, as well as the inside having glass panes as well, it doesn't seem to be too common. But then again, I haven't been looking at $3.4 million properties, so what do you get? Again, just as clean as the other one. It's just a lot, I guess it looks a lot fancy, a lot more open plan living than the other one. So I guess props to the cleanness and the stylists of the other places. Even the $250,000 place managed to tidy up just to be getting some pretty decent photos. And this is in a completely different league, being, 15 times as much money? But I just think that $250,000 one, or even the $350,000 one, was just a steal in comparison to anything that I could otherwise get in Australia. Whoa, now that is a wardrobe though. Look at that stone in the wardrobe. You know you're at a certain level when you have a wardrobe one that big with, hang on, that's got washing machine and dryer in the wardrobe? Or maybe this is a separate room? I'm so confused. It's not even a wardrobe. It's not even a walk-in anything. It's just an entire room dedicated to housing clothing and everything associated with it. My goodness though, but to be having, like I said, the stone in the room here where you get dressed or store your clothes and everything like that, you know you're at a certain caliber of house. No house so far has ever been having that. Just look at it. It clearly is. Honestly, I think a decent steal for 3.369900. I've never seen anything that is this much of a steal in terms of an Australian property. Like the block itself is quite large. So if you were going to be attempting to buy anything remotely close to this in a CBD of, I guess not Sydney or Melbourne, but maybe Perth, that would be the closest comparison I could make. I don't think you'd even get anything remotely close to this in the Northern Territory, but let's just say Perth. Being in the CBD, I don't believe you'd only have to pay like I said, even let's just call it 3.4 million. it would be like a 8 million, maybe $12 million place. I honestly don't think that anything remotely close to this would exist in Perth, especially not in the CBD like this, but if you could, and I mean I can attempt to try and find the closest thing, but if you could, I just don't see how it would be anywhere remotely close to this, and so that's a steal in my books. And so far, Saskatchewan is just being ultra cheap with everything. Here it is, 42 Duncraig Road, Applecross, WA. Now that is in Perth, or as close as you're going to get. It was in the Perth greater region, but you can see, I didn't even see the map, but I saw the water, and so it's relatively similar in terms of the aspect being on a body of water and also not that far from the CBD. But if we actually look then at the photos, keep in mind this is for $3.7 million. It's not the same. There's a construction site next door, and I bet that's exactly what this would turn into if it did get sold, but it's just not in the same league as the other one. And it's, you know, Canadian and Australian dollars are virtually the same. It's more expensive. Like that's what we're talking about. This is the level that you're getting. It's clean, but it's not clean in the same way that any of the Saskatchewan places have been clean. Like this is just older clean, not renovated at all. It got ducted, sure, but look, like it's just a generic old home. No worries. For 3.7 million though. That's why I think that this is so crazy. But look, let's just rein it in a little bit more and go back to basically the million on the dot, as that has been the benchmark of all the other ones, and I do want to be knowing what can you get for about $1 million. So 5 beds, 4 baths, once again, very clean, very nice. What would you call that? Is that a 3-car or a 2-in-1? It's a bit of a weird combo. I don't know why you'd do that, but fair enough. You've got it all separated out. Once again, nice staircases down to the basement, of which, quick segue back to this one, it's definitely not going to be having a basement. If it ever shows me the floor plan, okay, apparently it doesn't have one, but you can see in none of these photos is there ever going to be a basement, whereas in here, there's always going to be a basement because it's North America and they just always do. So you just get more bang for your buck, more floors for your level. Still though, just from everything that I'm seeing here, it's a very clean place, very livable. There you go. It's a 3-car garage. I was wondering if there was a wall down the middle, but nope. 3 cars you can fit in there, probably just 2. You can see what people are actually using it as predominantly. And from there, you have so many options. You've got, what is it? Yeah, 5 beds, 4 baths, as well as everything else that we're seeing along here. And really, it's just a very clean, wow, you've even got a theater room for $1 million. Yes, I understand that it's not Vancouver and Toronto and Ottawa. It's not a big city like this. And this isn't in the smack bang of the city, I don't believe. I should see, where is it? Not like the other one was, just being right next to the CBD, but it's still very much in the city. And I guess I should just try and figure out exactly how far that is, because I never have any reference about the distances of this, but still, it's within this greater city region. And so to be having a theater room and all the other rooms, 5 bedrooms, everything like that for $1 million. I understand that it's not Ottawa and Toronto and all the big cities, and that it's not going to be for everyone. Some people aren't going to be able to live like this, and some people aren't going to be able to move away from friends and family and growing up, maybe even just being coastal, whatever it may be. But man, does Saskatchewan just have some very impressive price to performance figures here. Like I said, I've never seen anything like this in Australia. No matter where you go, as none of these places are ever going to be built in places that aren't going to be worth $6 million, because to build a house like this, it's going to be a $3 million build. So how are you going to be making a $3 million build and then selling it for $1 million? It just doesn't work. So that's why they are then going to be $8 million places built on land that's worth $4 million, and boom, just like that, $12 million house compared to a $1 million place. It's just incredible. I am just now realizing though that the floor is just a little bit busy for my taste. I'm sure that it just appeases some people, and for once this isn't a black kitchen, which is just at least nice to be having some differences, but man, that's a signature floor, and it feels like they've also tried to match the floor to the walls, to the tiles, to everything. You could even see in this lampshade, it's kind of the pattern of the floor being all dotted and mismatched. The same also goes for the splashback in the kitchen, and so it's very busy in that regard, but then also very clean, as you know, it's just white square set ceilings, white stone, just square set everything. So I don't know when this would possibly be built or when it was renovated, but they've kind of had the best of both worlds, or just picking pieces out from anything they like, and that will also just get you a buyer, whether it's all the buyers or one buyer, but it's either going to be one buyer that loves it or 50 people that kind of love it. And really, I just read the description and I went, hang on a second, I hadn't obviously seen all the photos. Look at what I'm looking at here. You've got an extra outhousey thing, but you've also got all the hot tub, spa, whatever you want to be calling it, this big grassy lot, and then a basketball and tennis court. They said like 40 or 30 by 60 foot Probably, but look at the infrastructure that has gone into here. Like, it's properly set up, and you're getting all of this for $1 million. I don't know how. I don't know where, or I guess I do know where. So really, I don't know how they have done it. How can you do all of this and maintain it and then sell it for only $1 million? It's like it's a house share. It's like you're getting one of 5 lots or one of 10 lots. But no, I'm not seeing anything like that. Built in 2013, no worries. 10 years old, cool. Apparently that just means that you can just knock 90% off the price and just go and have a very impressive home, not that far from anything, for only $1 million. What? 7.53 kilometers? I thought it might be maybe 15 or 20, but it's only 7K from the CBD. I thought I was just going to be very, very undercutting with maybe 15, 20, and I thought, okay, maybe it's actually 50K. I just was having to try and change my mindset to go, there's no way you get that for $1 million, but it's only 7K. How? How is that possibly possible? Canada, you're crazy. I understand that some places are expensive, but man, please, people, just jump on these opportunities, because there are plenty of Australians that wish they had anything remotely close to this in anywhere in the world.